Hello everyone, welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sport. And today we're going to be looking at my preferred 23 as the Springboks take to the field once again this weekend as they start their sort of autumn test series, the outgoing tour. And interestingly enough, over the weekend I sort of put out a video with a couple of statistics about the fact that the end of year tour has actually historically been the tour where you don't actually experiment, you don't change too much, and you definitely don't, bring new players in and give them opportunity, well, not and sort of star stuff like that. So it was quite an interesting sort of analysis. But on the back of that, I thought I'd do a video basically looking at kind of what I would like to see in the team this weekend. And there are a couple of sort of leaks and ideas going around in terms of what we probably will see, but this team will be announced tomorrow. So whatever the hearsay is, whatever we want to think, we've only got sort of a few more hours before we actually will hear the team for the Wales this weekend. Before we do look at that, please do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. Now, in terms of the chatter, quite a few rumours that Willie le Roux will not be starting at fullback this weekend. Springbok also has been ruled out of the clash. He is currently still not with the squad as a result of some visa issues and stuff like that, and it's therefore very unlikely that he will in fact be available for this weekend. In fact, pretty much Dion Davis earlier pretty much ruled him out, which means that there is already a space in the side on the wing. Now, there's talk about the fact that Willie le Roux will not be starting at fullback, but there's also talk that it won't be FASSI at fullback. In fact, there's also talk that FASSI might not be starting at all. Which is quite interesting because if Springbok is not playing, FASSI is not playing either, and there's no Francis staying at fullback. No Willie le Roux at fullback. It kind of probably indicates that it's France staying at fullback, and then we could be seeing a Jesse Creel or Lekanya on the wing. Other reports could indicate, we could potentially see Lekanya on the wing, for example, and we could then maybe see Jesse Creel back in the centres. We could see maybe Damien Delindi outside centre, Andre Pollard inside centre, Alton Yankees 10, like we saw towards the end of the All Blacks game. So quite a few combinations which could happen. In terms of what I would like to see, I don't think this is the game to change too much. And I think that Scotland would be the game where I would look at bringing more players in. In theory, Scotland is, in theory, the easier game, although Wales are missing a lot of players. But I also think that Scotland play a very sort of open and a much more sort of high-tempo brand of rugby. And as a result, I think we've got a couple of players which would suit that sort of openness of the game. But for Wales, we've always sort of traditionally seen as quite a bit of a slugfest, and a team which is quite similar to the Springboks in many respects. So in terms of the team that I would like to see, probably something along the lines of this. And I'll sort of tell you, go through it. Now, front row, Oxenchair, Bongi Mbonambi, Trevor Nyakane. No Francois Herbert in the side or in the squad for the end of the year tour, which means that Trevor Nyakane for me switches straight back to tight head and starts. Oxenchair has been so impressive when he started, and Bongi Mbonambi has started to sort of look so much better as it went on. I also some people don't like it. I really don't have any issue with Malcolm Marx and Stephen Kitsoff and Mazukak being the ones coming off the bench. If you look at playing minutes, there's pretty much no difference between being the starting prop compared to the reserve prop. It comes down to, are you suited to start a game and go into it, or can you come off the bench and impact? And that's why I'm very happy with Malcolm Marx coming off the bench, 38 minutes and 42 minutes, because I want Malcolm Marx, who I think is probably one of the best hookers in the world at the moment on form. I want him at the end of the game when the pressure situations come, when those five sort of points on the line and you need that moment. Malcolm Marx can produce that. So I've got no issue with that. Lock combination, I'm going Eben Etzebeth and Lourdes Diago for this weekend. I think Franco Mostert, for me, I've got him on the bench, but I think that he, just switch straight back in next weekend, maybe for Lourdes Diago. And we just sort of switch between them, really, unless you want to go with putting Franco Mostert back on the flank, but I don't think we need to, because my preferred loose trio would be Siya Kolisi at 6, Kwagga Smith at 7, and Duane Vermeulen. It's the loose trio that started against the All Blacks, and I thought they were absolutely terrific. I think Kwagga's skill set is going to be very important. Duane Vermeulen is vital in terms of his defensive ability to sort of organize the defense. Also, an interview coming out today talking about the fact that Duane Vermeulen has agreed to stay on until 2023. So, if that is the case, then you might as well play him and you sort of keep him in sort of the setup and stuff like that. No Faf de Klerk, so for me, Kobus Reina comes straight into the side in the number 9 jersey. But I would like to see Ursula Yankees get given more opportunity. I think it becomes difficult to start ignoring Alton Yankees for much longer. He's looked very, very good in the Springbok jersey when he has played in it. Whilst Andre Pollard, if we can all sort of agree, is not in particularly good form. Went back to Montpellier. he still has not quite sort of bashing the doors down, isn't he? And I think that a game or two coming off the bench could be exactly what he needs. Just sort of take a bit of spotlight away from him, let him come on when the game is sort of settled and make a difference. I don't think this will be the case. I think Pollard will start tomorrow, and I think we will see Alton Jantjies on the bench. I don't think we'll see a 6-2 split. But I definitely would like to see Alton start at least against Scotland, because I think that's a team that will suit him. The wings are interesting, because obviously I want to see Apelele FASSI starting if Springbok is not going to play. And I want to see FASSI on the wing, because I just think that it's a good idea to sort of grow somebody into the game. And we do have a spot open on the wing, so it kind of makes sense. Now, whether you go FASSI on the left wing, Marcus Pimpy on the right wing is a very tricky decision, because FASSI has played both of his games on the left wing. However, Marcus Pimpy is probably one of the top 2-3 best left wings in the world. Do you really want to play with that? And whereas I think Apelele FASSI and 14 obviously got a lot far more sort of defensive duties to do, I think as someone, if he wants to be a fullback for South Africa, who will be the last line of defense, I think you need to be able to sort of test up that defense capabilities. And I think that on the wing, it's still, you can get exposed, but they're still not quite as exposed as you will be at fullback. And I'd probably stay with Philly at fullback, which a lot of people won't agree with. You can go France Day in this game, and they could very well go France Day in this game. I'm just looking sort of longevity. I think Philly could still be involved in the 2023 World Cup. France Day will not be involved in the 2023 World Cup. Had it been my decision, I would have had Warwick Geland in the squad, and I would have had Warwick Geland starting. So, Vili for me, it doesn't start because I want necessarily Vili to start, and I think he's the best 15 we've got. But I think it makes more sense to sort of back him for a bit longer than to go straight back to France Day for a couple more games. And I think it's nice to have that sort of that experience in between, especially next to Apelele FASSI and the like. And off the bench, Malcolm Mark, Stephen Kitsoff, Vincent Koch, that's pretty straightforward. Franco Master, reserve lock. That's fantastic. And then Marco Verstappen for me is the reserve loose forward on the bench. Kwagga Smith is so important in the side because he can play anywhere in that loose trio. So Marco Verstappen can replace Dwayne Vermeulen, he could replace Khaleesi, or he could play Kwagga Smith. You could sort of replace anyone. Just like Franco Master could in theory also sort of pack down on the flank if you wanted to do it. So, you could leave Eben Etzebeth for an entire game, and you could take off Siya Khaleesi and Kwagga Smith. You could take off Siya Khaleesi and Dwayne Vermeulen. So it's quite a nice sort of versatility in there. I just think that Jasper Wiese still has a little bit to learn. I think that, he's very exciting players come into the squad, and he's had a couple of very nice moments, but I think discipline needs to be looked at. And I think soft skills need to sort of improve. Herschel Jantjies is the obvious member on the bench. I'll go with Andre Pollard, of course. And then I see Damian Willemse. If we haven't taken a lot of new players and fresh faces, and I think Damian Willemse needs game time. I think he needs the chance to sort of, everybody's sort of saying, why is he there? He's not good enough, but we haven't seen enough of him, I don't think, throughout the entire year. So I'd like to see him coming off the bench. That's what I would sort of go with. Obviously, there's a couple of contentious ones. I think Warwick Geland at 15, I'll be much happier with this side. Whether you want to put FASSI on the left wing, Marcus Pimpy on the right wing, I would like to see FASSI on the left wing if we had Springbok on the right, for example. And that's no disrespect to Pimpy, but just we know exactly what he is, and we can give him some time off. But very interested to sort of see what will happen tomorrow. Let me know what you think of the side. Let me know what you would change down in the comments below. Smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel. We will have a video up tomorrow as soon as the Springbok squad is announced. We will also be going live for a bit of a panel show discussing the squad, breaking it down, and hearing your thoughts on the 23 that Jacques Nienaber has selected. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven, and I'll chat to you soon.